Are you spending a crazy amount of time trying to grow your coaching business, wondering how on earth you're going to get paid back for all the time, energy, and money you've invested? Those consistent 10, 20, 30K months you keep hearing about, they still feel just out of reach. Well, here is the good news. You can build a highly profitable coaching business that consistently cash flows 20K months or more without being glued to your phone, living in the DMs, or even with a tiny audience. But there's one catch. You have to be willing to do one thing less. And today I'm going to walk you through the single biggest mistake I see heart-led coaches making that's stopping them from growing with ease, flow, and predictability. And the most easeful path to 20K months by being more of who you are and how surprisingly simple it all is. And then finally, the 3 systems I've installed in my own business and now build for my clients that do 90% of the heavy lifting. So you just need to focus on one thing a day. Now, the bottom line is this makes the whole game of growing a coaching business faster, easier, and a whole lot more fun. Now, who's going to get the most from this training? Well, this is for the heart-led coach versus the hustle-led coach. It's for coaches who have paying clients already, so not the total beginner. It's for the coach who believes business is here to serve life, not the other way round. And it's for those who want a spacious online business that funds their offline life, because those chickens and goats are expensive. And finally, it's for the wildly ambitious, the thought leaders out there. Now, who is this not for? Well, if you are a cigar-smoking, Lambo-flashing guru, an overthinker who needs everything to be perfect before taking action, or the trend chasers that switch from social media marketing to crypto to coaching, or the anti-woo that think breathwork is witchcraft, then you're in the wrong place. And I say that with a lot of love because you're about to see why these distinctions matter when I walk you through the one biggest mistake keeping most talented coaches stuck. But first, you might be wondering, who the heck am I to be saying all of this? So I'm Joel. This is me here. And since becoming a coach 5 years ago, coaching and business is pretty much all I think about. Well, of course, my wife, my kids, and the mystery of consciousness and who the fuck are we? But seriously, coaching is my calling. But I'll be real with you though, it hasn't always been smooth sailing. In my first year as a coach, after my previous business got wiped out by COVID, I was impatient and really naive. And I fell for every strategy under the sun. Funnels, ads, DM scripts, automations, and the straw that broke the camel's back was the classic guru funnel. And I maxed out my credit cards, poured everything into it, and it bombed. But I wasn't ready to give up. So I did something radical. I simplified everything, and I went back to the heart of coaching and focused on serving, conversations, and building relationships. But I'm also a mechanical engineer by training, so I love leverage and systems. And I built 3 systems that I'm about to get into, which have allowed me to work 4 days a week, create high-fee clients for 10, 20, even 45K, and make multiple 6 figures in a year with a tiny audience. Like, it really shouldn't be this possible to generate this kind of income with the audience size I have. But when you understand the systems I'm about to share with you, you'll realize 20K months are not out of reach for you either. Like it wasn't for Len, who was stuck at 3 to 5K months for years. And after installing these systems, he made back-to-back 20K months and is now writing a book on the back of all of this success. So let's start with the biggest mistake I see coaches make, which is likely keeping you from breaking through your glass ceiling, and it's costing you time, money, and momentum. Now, let's make this real. Imagine you have 100 of your dream clients in a room. Now, 5 of these will be ready to buy from you now. 15 of these will be ready to buy from you in 1 to 3 months. 30 in the next 3 to 6 months, and the rest, they're still warming up or may never be ready. Now, most coaches focus all of their energy on the 5, trying to convince, trying to catch, and it's like trying to catch a butterfly with a net. But we do things differently. We build a garden so beautiful, so irresistible that butterflies come to us. And while the garden grows, we still go out with a net, but we're not chasing, we're choosing. Now, how do we build this garden? Well, with the 3 systems I'm about to show you. System 1 is the authority flywheel. Now, the authority flywheel is an ecosystem where basically everything feeds everything. The content, the delivery, the sales, they aren't separate, they're aligned. Because most coaches I see that are burnt out is because they're creating one type of content for clients, another for their audience, and another for launches. There's no alignment, there's no leverage, there's no clear customer journey. But we work backwards from the offer. So there's a really clear customer journey. So we turn delivery into content for our audience, and we create an ecosystem where everything compounds. Now, let me share with you how this works in real life. Now, every month inside of my community, the ECC, I run a bonus workshop. One month, for example, I ran a workshop on building a community called the Community Code. Now, after I run that workshop, I turn that into a bit of YouTube content where I give them the wow, but not the how. And that often leads to leads and people who sign up to my email list. And then that email list is where I make more offers to more of my monthly workshops. And a couple of months ago, I ran this workshop called the 10K Coaching Code. I love the word code, it seems. And at the end of it, I made a very casual, relaxed offer to join the ECC. And as always, a handful of people signed up. Now, at the end of this workshop, which I always do, I made a very casual offer to join my community, the ECC. And as always, I got a handful of coaches sign up. Now, 3 months into that, one of these recent clients reached out and applied for my one-to-one mentorship space. We had a very casual, relaxed call. There was no pressure, coercion, or manipulation. And he soon signed up, paying me $18,000. Now, that just came from a bit of content that I was already doing for my community and just leveraging. There was no coercion, there was no manipulation, just effortless sales and really no force, just flow. Now, let's go under the bonnet and see what needs to actually be built. So it all starts with the growth engine, which essentially is about driving traffic into your world and turning followers into leads. Leads are people that you can have a direct conversation with, usually via your email list, which is really the driver of your business. Now, our first goal is to turn these leads into customers because the conversion rate for customers to reinvest is 60 to 70%, whereas the conversion rate for leads is like 5 to 20%. But what's more, customers will spend 50% more than leads. So we want a list of customers, not leads. And we do that with things like low ticket workshops or mini courses or things that are no-brainers to your high ticket clients, your dream clients. That's why I charge around 50 to 100 pounds, because that repels clients that can't afford my one-to-one program. And it really calls in the high standard of clients that I want to work with. Now, once we've generated and created these customers through low ticket workshops and mini courses, we run simple waitlist to client campaigns where we're not always open, we're not always hustling, we're not always creating clients. We choose when we want clients. We choose when we want to invite people into our world. I usually do that after one of the bonus workshops I run, opening the doors for 48 hours, sometimes 7 days. And again, it's very relaxed. It's a casual invite. Do you want to come and join my community, creating more clients? Now, here's where the real magic is, turning these clients into raving fans, because the new acquisition is retention. A majority of my income comes from retention, and I spend most of my energy focused on client delivery and getting my clients results. And I call this building a sacred tribe, where you create raving fans who do your selling and marketing for you. And the ultimate goal is to create case studies from those raving fans, which go back to the start and create more leads and more people interested in your work. This is why it's an ecosystem. Each part builds on the other part and it generates and drives itself. But we work backwards. We work backwards from the community, from the things that we're already delivering, from the content we're already creating for our community, and we work backwards. As I said, this creates alignment, leverage, and it means you build things once and sell them and use them multiple times. This is how those 20K months are far closer than you dare to dream. Now, this is how I made 50,000 in a month with just a list of 600 people, because I built trust and I took them deep fast. Now, take a breath with me, because I know this may feel like a lot, but know this: we can build all of this for you and even have our custom AI bot, which we call our system sage, cut the time to build it all down by about 1/10. Now, more on that later. The second system is what I call the weekly demand loop, because here's the challenge a lot of coaches face. They don't know how to balance short-term income with long-term growth, because you likely need clients now. So you go all in on lead gen and it works and you get booked. Then you shift all your attention and energy to delivery. And then when those contracts end, you're back at zero. Feast, famine, repeat. And it's not a hustle problem, it's a systems problem. And a big shift happened for me when I discovered the Tao Te Ching. One of my favorite verses says, "Nature doesn't hurry, yet everything is accomplished." And we are nature. We're not meant to work like machines. We're cyclical, we're rhythmic, we work in seasons. So taking that, I designed what I call a trademark week. A week I could live for the rest of my life, one that I'd be proud of, and one that makes me energetically attractive. Because I believe a relaxed coach is a magnetic coach. And inside that week, I prioritize first and foremost cultivating presence and creative force. Because something I truly believe in is that the energy fueling an action is far more important than the action itself. So what that looks like for me is a morning routine of breath work, of embodiment, of exercise, a walk in nature at lunch, time with my family from 5:30, absolute latest, and afternoons off to do capoeira and time with my daughter. So it starts with cultivating presence. The next C, which is a non-negotiable, is coaching. For me, I like to coach on Tuesday and Wednesday afternoon. The next non-negotiable in the short term is connecting. So this is building relationships. And I like to do this for 1 hour a day, 3 days a week. I often do this at a cafe, sipping excellent flat whites and sitting in the sun. And then finally, we've got creating. And again, this is something I massively enjoy and prefer to do on Monday morning and Friday morning. So that is my trademark week. And that moves the needle forward in the short term. And it leaves all of this space for long-term growth, which is where I zoom out and like to work in 8-week cycles, where for 6 weeks I am on and 2 weeks I'm off. And in that 6-week sprint, I essentially go back to the authority flywheel and ask myself, where is my biggest bottleneck? Where are my lowest hanging fruits? And that becomes my focus in that 6 weeks and in this time where I'm working on the long term. This is how we break free from the feast to famine loop, by holding the tension between now and later and building systems like this. The third system is where things get fun, because here's where we take your brilliance and we systemize it using a VA, playbooks, SOPs, and our AI tool, the System Sage, where we do things like turning your one piece of content into an email, into a carousel, into a reel, into automation that grows your list, and a trigger that leads to sales, all whilst you're chilling on the beach and having a load of fun. So you're working less, getting more done, making more sales, and having a greater impact. Now, once this is built, your workflow becomes something like this: asking yourself, where are your clients stuck? Creating a workshop that helps them, selling that workshop for $50 to $100 to your wider audience, delivering with love and pure service, and at the end, making a really soft, casual invite to your core offer. And then you can turn that into a long form and short form bit of content. And the workshop becomes an evergreen offer that's always working for you. Repeat. This is all about leverage, maximizing your profit, client results, and fun. And this is how Avi made 10 grand in 3.5 weeks. Sophia filled her first retreat from her community, and Helen grew from 5 to 15 aligned clients, all organically. Now, I won't go on. You can check all my client results in a playlist on my page. Let me ask you a serious question. What is it costing you to not have a system like this? If you know you're worth 20K months and you're currently making 5, well, that's a 15K month gap. That's $180,000 or pounds per year you're leaving on the table. And I'm not sharing this to twist your arm. I'm sharing it because I care. Too many gifted coaches are held back, not because they're not good enough, but because they're building without a system. Systems are what set you free to fully express, to serve, and to scale. So if you're finally ready to professionalize, play big, and build for the future, here's what we're doing. Next month, I'm working with a small group of heart-led coaches to co-create this entire system with you. That means we build the entire back-end automations and sequences and system. And then we mentor and coach you on your offer, your messaging, your delivery, and community building. So you just focus on creating, coaching, and serving your people. We take care of the rest. Now, if that sounds like something you want in on, DM me the word or letters ECC on Instagram, and I'll send you all the details. There'll be no pressure, no pitch. If it works, it works. And if you're not ready, that's also totally cool. There's a ton of free content on this page. In fact, go ahead and watch this video on how to build a conscious cult. It's a banger. Look, I'm sending you so much love, and I really hope we get to speak sometime soon. Let's build something really beautiful, profound, and something that's going to shift this world. Bye for now.